Continuing on from the previous post about dispelling the myth of common sense, we should begin to explore how fallible our cognitive processes are. Essentially, our brain processes tell us what to see, even when it isn't what others see or what's actually there, and can also mean that you have missed out on something which appears obvious afterwards. The following is a relatively simple question. Which piece of toy railway track looks bigger? The two toy railway tracks are identical, although the lower one appears to be larger. This visual phenomenon is known as the Jastrow illusion, discovered by the American psychologist Joseph Jastrow in 1892, and has been mystifying drunks ever since. There are three competing theories on how this illusion occurs. The first explanation relates to how the mind interprets the two-dimensional images on the retina as a three-dimensional world. The second explanation is that the mind can only attend to a small field of vision, which is reconstructed by our consciousness. The third, and most commonly used explanation, is that the brain is confused by the difference in size between the large and the small radius. The short side makes the long side appear longer, and the long side makes the short side appear even shorter.
Okay, one last time. These are small, but the ones out there are far away.
This simple illusion demonstrates that while you may know the illusion is providing an incorrect view of the world, it is nevertheless how you see it. This leads to the following assertion. It doesn't matter what you know, you will always see what your brain is hardwired to tell you to see. This brings us to the next example to emphasize this point. The following is a classic image which many of you will have seen before. The simple question is, do you see it as blue, gold, or something in between? Not to appear unkind, but your answer is fairly unimportant, as we already know many of you will see it differently from one another. The cause of this difference in interpretation will vary from person to person, depending on how a person's brain has unknowingly been conditioned from birth in how they perceive subtle convergence of colours within spectrum. The principle, which seemingly few recognise, is significant and leads us to the next assertion. While you will agree we are all seeing the same thing, the person next to you is seeing it in a profoundly different way, which means we aren't actually seeing the same thing. Exploiting these cognitive biases allows your perception to be manipulated. The easy way to demonstrate this is for you to look at the following image and decide which way you see the lady spin. This kinetic, bistable optical illusion was created in 2003 by the Japanese web designer Nobuyuki Kayahara. It derives from the lack of visual cues for depth, creating a pattern of expectations within your unconscious mind, which then tells you how you are seeing the image. As such, there is no correct way for the image to be spinning, but it is visually designed to exploit this cognitive bias, where your unconscious provides you with its expectation of what the movement is, which is then how you see it. Take time to look at the image. Whichever way you hadn't seen the dancer spin is the image you need to concentrate on for at least 10 seconds. Count these seconds slowly to yourself and then return to the original image. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You should now see it spinning in the opposite way to how you had originally seen it. You have had your perception altered. With a little foresight, when looking at the image, you should be able to think which way you'd like to see it move, and your perception will alter your interpretation of the image for you to see it that way. If you are struggling with this, then go through that process again. Another example of this can be seen within this image of a London Underground train. Do you think it's going into or emerging from that tunnel? Just like Kayahara's spinning lady, it's exploiting a lack of visual cues for depth. So what you think you are seeing doesn't really matter. Unlike the spinning lady, all you now need to do is instruct your mind to believe it's traveling in the opposite direction to the one you initially thought. You can actually make it happen. Knowing that your brain is undertaking a set of unconscious processes, altering your interpretation of what you are seeing, which includes spinning the image from your eyes the right way round, as they see upside down, and approximating the visual image in the small gaps, which would be at the center of your eyesight where the optic nerve attaches to the eyes, is different to accepting all this. Hopefully, the explanation of these illusions start to enable this acceptance, and you start to realize that what you are seeing all the time is little more than an unconscious fiction of alterations and approximations. This leads us to the next assertion. What you think you are seeing is already altered and can still be altered more. The last of these visual biases we need to acknowledge is how our attention steers our perception. There is a distinction between attention and awareness, as you can attend to something without being aware. The best example of this is to watch the following.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make? The answer is 13. But did you see the moonwalking bear?
This is known as the selective attention test, which was pioneered by researchers Christopher Chabris and Daniel Simons, and has appeared in various versions, one classic variation being the moonwalking bear. This bias is a mechanism of our brain which filters out events because our capacity for paying attention is limited. This leads to the final assertion. We see and notice things, people, and events which we put our attention on and remain blind to everything else, even when it seems obvious in hindsight. The fact that a person cannot pay attention to two things at the same time has been something known to cold readers and pickpockets for millennia. It is something we are all susceptible to, but being aware of the theatrics gives you an edge in how you interact within the wider environment. This requires a bit of conditioning. There are some key routines which a pickpocket would employ that will assist you, which I have hyperlinked in the description box below. These provide practical examples from the British Transport Police to raise awareness of hucksters. Take some time and visit those links and watch each of these carefully. Take time to consider the techniques. Try them out on friends, family, or colleagues. But remember, there is always an invisible gorilla and moonwalking bear deciding your fate. While you can't see them, being aware of why you can't makes you better than those who are listlessly drifting through their lives, oblivious of the delicate, changeable tapestry of how we really interpret risks within our surroundings, and consequently, those inherent within society. Stay tuned for more insights in our series on risk perception and preservation. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content. See you next time.
That's a good move, was it?
I know a better one.